Hi there, this is Cynthia Heathcoe.
And Nicole Rymer.
And we're from the Women's Chamber of Commerce in Palm Beach County.
And you are watching Women Mean Business.
And this is where you'll discover about us, our members, and the footprint that we're leaving on our community.
So stay tuned every week on Thursday on our Facebook page as we're coming to you live.
1 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Bye. Hey everyone, welcome back to Women Mean Business. We are here at Contemporary Living. I am Nicole Rymer with the amazing Cynthia Heathcoe. It happens.
I didn't know if she was wanting me to say my own name.
That's okay. I like to introduce her. She's, phenomenal. Award-winning, right?
Yes. Ooh, I'll own that.
Own it. We just had, if you watched last week's episode, we talked with Pamela Toussaint about owning it, so she's going to own it. So
I'm going to own it.
So we're really excited because we have a dear friend, Rhonda Rogers, here with us.
Hey, welcome.
Yes, welcome to Women Mean Business.
Thank you.
So we're excited for a few reasons. One, she's amazing, obviously.
She is, but there's something special about
For
Rhonda.
us.
We have a special bond
We
with
have a
you.
special bond. So most of you, maybe you do or do not know, Cynthia and I host a radio show, Make Your Life Happen. And about a year ago now.
That's true.
It's about a year ago. See, it was perfect timing. We came up with our tagline, which is "We're your official happy hour," and the show that we did that was with Rhonda.
Right.
So it was perfect timing, and we are so excited to have you back. So you have a
thank
special
you.
place in our heart.
Yes. But you're absolutely right, because it was our first inaugural literacy luncheon, and you brought me on to talk a little bit about that, and so I'm so glad about that. And folks who know me really know I like happy hours.
Yes, you do. So it was just so fitting that
perfect.
we kind of came up with it. I think you were the inspiration. Probably we didn't even know at the time. So how are you?
I'm doing well.
You're everywhere.
Yes, but I get my time in.
Do you?
I put myself in time out.
Ooh, put yourself in timeout. It doesn't have to be a bad thing.
No. Time out is good.
I love it.
That's good.
Hashtag timeout.
Hashtag put yourself in timeout.
Can I steal that?
You can.
I think everybody should take
I'm
that.
going to steal it. I'm going to
That's
own
how I
that too.
stay refreshed, because if not, you will wear yourself down.
As women,
So,
we will
yes,
definitely.
wear yourself
And you
down.
do so much, and we're going to talk about that. So, how long have you been at the chamber and involved? Because you're on the board too.
Yes, so I've been with the chamber for about 4 years. I was lucky to be one of the 20th anniversary Giraffe winners. Yay for the Giraffe!
Yay.
So I came aboard right shortly after that. I had actually paid for my membership, and at the time, Mary Hart was the executive director, and she had sent me back my check and said because I was a Giraffe winner, I got a free membership. And I was like, really?
Wow.
So I'm like, that's good stuff.
Good timing.
I didn't even know. That was another perk of winning. I was awarded a free year of membership with the chamber. So shortly after that, I came out to a couple of events, and I just decided I wanted to join the organization. There was a lot of phenomenal women doing great things in the community. And our directory is so full of amazing women, amazing organizations. So I've used some of the women in our directory for florists. And different things like that. I was looking for a realtor, and I reached out to our chamber administrator to get a name, someone who's in the directory who does that. So women supporting other women is really another reason why I joined it, because that's one of my passions, and I do that in all walks of life.
You really do. I mean, we see it. You're everywhere, like I said. You've got a smile on your face, and you're just championing for other women.
Thank you.
So
I've never seen you upset.
no, yeah.
You've always so happy and positive and really putting your best foot forward. And
Right.
you really lead by example with that.
Well, I thank you. I try not to get upset. I try to look at things as an opportunity to learn and grow. Sometimes things aren't the way I like it. It's just most people, it's not. Things happen in life, but you just kind of got to roll with the punches.
Okay.
And so I was raised by a very strong grandmother who believed in looking at the next day. So, this day wasn't so well, and I'll say that quickly. I may say that on my Facebook. Today wasn't a good day, but let's try this all over again tomorrow and hope
Okay.
for a better day.
That's a great outlook to have, especially I think in today's world.
Yes.
To have it's about the silver lining. There's always something better that you can look forward to.
So there's a lot of other things you do besides your work with the Women's Chamber of Commerce. So you also are an executive director of
Right.
a nonprofit.
It's called Lake Worth West Residence Planning Group. It's in Lake Worth. It was actually founded in 1995 by local residents, and so that's where the title comes from, Lake Worth West Residence Planning Group. And our mission really is to be that connector, that linkage facility for the neighborhood residents. So we cover the 3341 zip code, and most of my families are Hispanic or Haitian Creole. And so we're really there to help them get connected to food stamps. ESOL is a big program because a lot of our residents do not speak English as a first language. Mommy and Me classes, getting them really excited about their children going to kindergarten. Early literacy, because a lot of our families just have their kids go to school for the first time at 5 without any pre-literacy, so they're already behind.
Yeah.
So those are really the things that we champion and we try to push forward at Lake Worth West Residents Planning Group.
That gives them such a great start in
Yes,
life.
right.
It really. How does that feel? Because I mean, you're really building a community and helping them thrive.
It feels good. I mean, when you can go to work every day and I know that when I leave, we've touched somebody. There's not a day that I don't get to go in and really be the good cop, as I call it. We always get to
I
be
love
that
that.
one that brings somebody joy. Somebody's going to come into the center that's going to need something and leave with a service that they didn't have. And that's good. You know, I haven't always been in those type of jobs. I've been in jobs where I had to be the bad guy, had to cancel contracts with people not doing what they needed to do. But now this is very rewarding, and when I can go to work every day and I know when I leave we've touched numbers of people.
Unbelievable.
I know.
And that's
Wow.
why we love Rhonda.
Oh,
That's awesome.
But you've been in the nonprofit world for a long time.
right. Around 1993,
Wow.
I started. I was actually originally in banking.
Wow.
And I was going down that path, but my son came along, and it didn't work out so well, and so next thing I know, I was on medical leave, and was terminated.
Wow.
While on medical leave, it was very, very odd. But it
Oh.
opened up an opportunity because one of my best friend called me and said, "There's an opportunity here for you at a nonprofit," and I went in just part-time, being the secretary, 2 days a week, giving a little filler. And once I had my son, they called me back and said, "You want a full-time job?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
Wow.
So I've been in the nonprofit sector since 1993.
Wow. See, and one thing that some people would have been devastated by losing a job, it created a whole new, opened up a new
Right,
opportunity for
right.
you.
And showed me a different way, because I really thought I was going to be a banker. I really thought I was going to own my own business. I always loved children because I went to part-time jobs, were always babysitting or working in after school or summer camp. So that's always been my passion. So I thought I would own a preschool. That's what I saw myself really doing, is owning a preschool, owning a daycare. But through my years and through that, I realized that I didn't want to own.
That's a tough business.
That's
But you're
very
doing
tough.
so much more than
Yeah.
just owning a preschool. I mean,
Right.
you're giving people tools to succeed in
Right.
life, and their kids, and really just families. And
Right.
I think that changes so many directions for families of the path that they can go down. You know what I mean? Giving them, literacy is a huge thing. I don't think people understand how big that is right now. And you have that literacy luncheon coming up. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, at Lake Worth West, we have two big programs that are funded through the Children's Service Council. We have the Bridges and we have the Parent-Child Home Program. But we also have a lot of literacy programs for our high school, elementary, and middle school youth. And those programs are not necessarily funded by any big organization. They're funded by a lot of small organizations.
Okay.
So that's how the Literacy Luncheon came about last year. And this is going to be our second annual Literacy Luncheon. And this year I coined it the Love of Literacy. And we're going to do it right around Valentine's Day.
Oh,
So it's going to be
Perfect.
Friday, February 8th. And of course, our colors are going to be red, white, and black. And we're going to do a beautiful luncheon at Benvenuto.
Oh, nice.
And now this year, added is we're going to be honoring some folks in the community. We're going to be honoring some literacy organizations in the community and thanking them for partnering with us and being those funders and those champions of literacy.
Wow.
All about collaboration.
Oh, yes.
See, we always
Yes.
champion that, and there's always somewhere it comes up again and again and again. Because you go further if you partner with people, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know, they think one nonprofit just supports itself or gets
No.
private donors, but there's other agencies that then donate and support you as well.
Right. I
So
work with
it's-
about 10 funders.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot. And we manage a lot of different grants, small from 100,000 to 500,000 to 5,000.
Wow.
And you'd be surprised that sometimes the 5,000 grants want more information and more
Right.
data than the 100,000.
Right.
grants, but we make it happen. But yeah, any given year, we're managing about 10 grants. Just to keep it going, because we're about a $1.2 million organization.
Wow.
And we have a calendar of probably about 30 activities within a year.
And
That's a
I
lot.
think the
Yes.
misnomer when people are involved in a nonprofit, it's a business at the
Yes,
end of the
it
day. And to keep it running successful, to help as many people as you can, you have to run it as a business.
You
And there's
really,
so
really
many
do.
things behind the scenes that you probably have to take care of that people don't understand.
Right, and we do the same exact thing as a for-profit. We still have people to manage.
Right.
We still have payroll we have to deal with. We still have HR issues that we have to deal with. The nonprofit sector really, to me, is more, I feel like people do it for love. They don't do it for money.
Yeah.
Because that's what is true, that we don't make a lot of money as much as we would probably make in corporate America.
Yeah.
But we're doing it for the love and the passion of what our charge is and our mission. And I fell in love with the mission of Lake Worth West many years ago. I had the privilege of being their contract manager. So
Wow.
I was their contract manager when I was at the Children's Service Council. So when the position came open, I felt very comfortable with applying for it because I get that question all the time. Clearly, I'm African American, and my program serves 98% Latino, and all my staff are Spanish and Latino. So they said, well, what made you want to apply for that job? And I just feel like I'm a great leader.
Yes, you are.
And that with great team and great staff and a great mission, it doesn't matter what color you are.
Yeah.
I can lead any group,
Absolutely.
whether they're
Yeah.
black, white, yellow, or green. And so every day I go to work and I don't really see color. I see us women banding together for the mission of the organization.
Wow. See, you touch base that nonprofit is not, you don't make a lot of money there. But another area where you really make none is volunteering.
That's right.
You volunteer a lot of your time.
A lot
You
of
did
it,
it with the
yeah.
Women's Chamber. You're now the president of 2 different organizations, so you're giving a lot of time and energy there.
Yes, yes.
And I firmly believe, and the best payment is that emotional
Yeah.
satisfaction of making a difference.
Right.
So tell us about the other organizations that you represent.
All right, yes, I'm a part of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. We're an advocacy organization, and what I love about this organization is our purpose is really to advocate on behalf of black women and girls in the areas of health, education, economic empowerment. So we really have that sole mission to really get out and make sure that black women and young girls are educated about their education. So we're at the school board and advocating and making sure that there's good education and that our kids get good schooling. We're a part of several health committees where we make sure breast cancer. A lot of black women are
Yes.
passing it early because they are less likely to get diagnosed and get treated. Because I had a girlfriend who felt the lump and just kept feeling it and never wanted to go to the doctor because she knew what it was.
Yeah.
And then when she went, it's stage 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like you have to kind of like get out there. And so we talk about it, we educate it. So that group I love so much because it's an advocacy organization. It's not community service, but we're there to advocate on behalf of those women and connect them with resources and real life solutions to their
Right.
problems. So that's one that's near and dear to my heart. And the other one is my sorority. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and so I serve as the president of the South Palm Beach Alumni Chapter.
Wow.
And so that takes a lot of my time.
Yes.
too.
We see it.
Yeah,
We
takes
see
a lot
it.
of my time. And right now we're with, like many groups, are really advocating getting folks to the polls. So
Yeah.
we spent a lot of time last week. We had a senior citizens luncheon
I
where we
saw,
worked with
yeah.
the seniors and made sure that they knew their polling district and they knew about those amendments. Aren't they long?
There's so many, and
And-
there's so many that are grouped together, and they kind
I
of don't
think
have
they
anything
have
to do with
nothing
each
to do with each other.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
boggles my
It's-
mind.
It's so yeah, and I mean that's so important because I think that a lot of people are so confused,
Right.
and it's like, what do I do when I go to vote, or should I vote? Yes, absolutely, go
Right.
vote, please.
It counts.
It absolutely counts. It's how you get your voice heard. But how does that feel, being able to advocate for? I mean, you advocate
my
for
God.
so many people, and what wisdom and what stories can you kind of impart on them to help them?
Well, why I do it and what makes me feel good is last Sunday was another early voting day. And so my sorority and I went out to 3 different polling
Wow.
locations in Boynton, Lantana, and Boca. And we just brought what we call respite care. So we brought cold waters, we
Oh,
brought
smart.
chips, we brought candy for the little ones, and just wanted to thank the
wow.
voters in line for coming out to vote.
That's
We don't care who
amazing.
you're voting for. We just glad you're
Wow.
out there to vote. And so that kind of stuff made us feel really well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we had communication conversation with people in the line. A lot of families were saying, well, this is her first time voting. This is his first time voting. So we took pictures. You know, we love our selfies.
We love our selfies. We take them all the time.
Right. So we took pictures with first time voters, and we were asking those kind of questions. And they were just saying that my mom and dad have just talked about how important it is to vote and how we didn't always have these rights to vote. And so now
Absolutely.
I have to come out here and do my duty to keep it going. So that's the reason why we do it. Because even though I was exhausted, it was hot and sweaty out there on Sunday, I went home with my heart feeling good and warm. And I know I did a good day and taking a little part of my Sunday to give back. So that's really why I like to do it. What got me started is I was fortunate, as I mentioned before, to be raised by my grandmother. And my grandmother was very instrumental in getting me for community service early on.
Wow.
Because she was part of a group called Eastern Stars.
Okay. I don't know
So
that.
Eastern Stars is a women organization. It's more religious kind of base. I think it's also along with the Masons. I don't know a lot about the organization, to be quite honest with you, but that was my first introduction into community service. So she would drag me around with her all the time to different youth groups and to giving back. And then her job was a nurse. She was a registered nurse. So that was another part of her time, was really being part of nursing homes and going out to be with the elderly and read stories. And those are the things that she did. So I got the chance to see volunteerism and how important and how much it meant to her. So it kind of was embedded in me.
She led by example.
Exactly.
And you saw it every day, and that's just
Exactly.
who you became.
Right.
That's amazing.
Right.
Wow.
Well, grandmothers are special.
Oh, yes.
So my
Oh,
grandmother
yes.
was
Oh,
huge.
yes.
Cara, Cynthia. So
Yeah. So we touched in the very beginning about timeout. And that's
I
self-care.
love it.
I like that because it's, there's times, I have 6 kids, and there's
Right.
times they go to timeout, and there's times I give myself a timeout.
Right.
yeah.
And I never thought that it could be a positive thing.
Yeah.
So you're
Well, you
really
have to
starting
really-
It's all
something.
perception, right?
But you
Yeah,
have to
it's-
kind of like take a break sometimes, because we're so connected with our phones. And I'm just like everybody else. I have every single app under the world under my phone, and it's always
It's
by me.
dangerous.
So when I put myself in timeout, I turn it off, and I just leave it there to the side, and I let folks know who are important to me that I'm going in timeout. And if you need something or there's an emergency, contact this person, and they
Okay.
can get in touch with me. Because I do have my father's about 82, and he's still alive. He's actually my grandfather. He raised me along with my grandmother, and I have my biological parents here as well. But something may happen, and then I have my 2 young adult sons. So anything can happen, but they know that I have to have that break time and just either watch TV or take a nap or just do whatever I want to do. But it's my way of re-energizing myself.
You have to disconnect
Right.
sometimes
Right.
from everything to be able to. You can't pour from an empty cup.
No.
We say it all the time,
You
but
really
then we
can't.
don't do
You
the
don't have
things we
anything
need
to
to do.
give.
You have
No. Mm-hmm.
nothing to give, and you give to so many people. So we talk a lot about gender parity here at the chamber, but you have a different story.
Right.
And it's a story I think people are afraid to talk about, but it has to be talked about nowadays. So you don't necessarily have a story about how gender parity has affected you, but how race discrimination has affected you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So being in the nonprofit world for the most of my adult life, I haven't really ran into the gender because most of women, the
Right,
nonprofits
right.
are really heavily dominated by women.
Right.
So that's never really been an issue for me. But being an African American woman is a little bit different. And as I was sharing on camera, there's been times where I felt it. I had to call it out, and most recently in my previous job, I really had to call it out because after you get so many years of experience, when you're younger, you can kind of let things slide and just kind of look the other way.
Or you
because of
feel you
things.
have to because you're young and
Right.
new and you're afraid to
And you
speak
got
out.
small
Yeah, you
kids,
don't wanna
you got
ruffle
your
any feathers.
mortgages, you don't want to ruffle any
Right.
feathers. But I realized when I turned about 45, I said, enough is enough. And so when I really saw it, I had to call it out. And as I was sharing with Nicole, I felt like I needed to call it out even more because it was happening with another woman of color.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so it's one thing that, you feel like another race is being discriminatory against you, but when it's someone of your own race.
Yeah.
And what had happened was someone else got a job with less education and a less experience than myself and my other colleagues who would have
Wow.
loved to have been able to apply for that job. But we were told flat out, no, you can't even apply for the job. And so we couldn't really understand why we couldn't even put our name in the hat.
Wow.
And then you've hired this person and it didn't work out. And so then we're having this lunch conversation like, well, let's talk about what happened there. And why did you hire this person and not hire us? And it was just a blank stare. And I just got back, you're absolutely right. And there was no answer.
Right.
But I felt like I had to say something because you had at least three, we thought, qualified African American
Right.
women, and then you went with this younger white woman who only had a high school diploma.
Wow.
And who was
so it
going
was so
to be-
blatant.
Who was going to be like our supervisor in a very elevated position.
Wow.
And with no experience.
With no experience.
Wow.
And had been at the company for like a year or two. So it was like slaps in the face all around.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Wow.
No.
So, I mean, and you advocate on behalf of other young African American girls. What do you say to them if they get into a situation? It's so hard. I mean,
Right.
it's such a difficult time right now, and that's why it has to be talked about. You have to call a thing, you
Right,
know?
right, and that's-
I mean, because that's the only way things get better. But I mean, they're very young, and we're in a different world right now.
Right.
You know, and you're advocating for them to have a better life. I mean,
Right.
how do you?
And it's a very fine line.
It is.
It
It
is a very
is.
fine line.
Yeah.
And what I would say to another young woman, look at the position. Look at where you are and set your goal of what it is. How blatant is it?
Yeah.
And can you live with it or without it? And if you can't come into work every day
Right.
and deal with it and move on to get to your next goal or to your next level, then I would say leave. You know, because I did both levels. So when
Right.
I was in the younger stages and I knew the job was what I needed because I had great benefits, my kids were being well taken care of, and it wasn't something that was hurting me on a day-to-day basis, you just kind of live with it. It just
Okay.
became pattern and norm.
Which
But-
is really
yeah.
sad that you have to live with it, you know,
right.
because
Yep.
you need the security
Right.
of a family.
Mhm.
And so many, I think, women are in that position,
Right.
and men. I
Right.
mean, that's,
But when I got brave, and everybody's gonna get
Yeah.
brave. They have their button, they have their thing. When I got brave, then I spoke up. And you have to call it as it is. But there's gonna be, it could be retribution.
right, and that's the
And
other
so
thing.
you have to really understand that once you step out to do that, it can go either way, and be prepared to go either way.
You have to be prepared for the
Right,
outcome, no
right.
matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
That you're gonna, that
Right.
you feel better knowing that
You
you
tried.
you tried, you
tried,
talked
right.
about it, you said
Mhm.
what needed to be said, because you also have to live with
You
yourself
have to
too,
live with yourself,
you know,
that's
and
right.
knowing that you said what needed to be said.
Right, and a lot of women of color really worry about the stigma of being that angry black
Yeah.
woman. And nobody really wants to walk around with that title in
Right.
their job, whether it's
Right.
nonprofit, corporate, or anything, you want to walk around with that title. So that's why I say it's a fine line. It's all about the approach and
Yeah.
really
That's
finding
the
that
key.
strong team with you to
Right.
really identify it. And then look at it and just, you can really examine it to say, is it really a racial thing? Or
Right.
am I feeling like it's a racial thing? You know,
There's
because
a
there
difference.
really is.
There's a
There really
difference.
is, and so it takes a team.
And that's why it's a fine line, and you
Right.
don't know. So
Mhm.
you have to also have people within your group, maybe at work, that you can trust to
Right.
talk about it too, and see
Right.
what they think, and you still have to make the decision for yourself.
Exactly.
you
And I
know.
think it was easy for me to confront because I was speaking to another African-American
Right.
woman. We were at lunch. It was non-threatening opportunity, for us. And I said, hey, can we go to lunch? I have some things I want to share. I wasn't being threatening. I wasn't loud. I wasn't accusatory. I just said.
Had a conversation. You wanted to have this open conversation.
So all of those things matter. you know.
Right.
You may have been angry on the inside, but you didn't
Right.
show it.
Right.
and
And
that
by
way
the
you could be
time-
heard.
Right, and by the time it had fleshed out, it had been some time.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
wasn't like right on it, but things had happened. And then the person was no longer in the organization, and we were talking about what's the next steps, who are we gonna bring in? So it kind of says, well, now let's talk about this as a full circle now.
Okay.
Now this happened, you brought this in, you thought this was gonna happen, because her answer along the way was she didn't think we would be good being supervised by each other. So let's say the three of us are peers, and we are up against a job, and instead of the three of us getting in, an outside person would get it because we've been peers. We've been directors on the
Oh,
same
okay,
level
so
for
they
so
were-
long, maybe we wouldn't want to be supervised by each other. But you didn't give us that opportunity.
Right, you didn't- right.
just said, none of you guys can apply.
Right. And,
And it
the, and the
left-
fact
and
that
it
you
left-
can't apply for, you can't even try, like
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
left a bad taste in
Right,
your mouth. And
absolutely.
So you never really do recover from that.
Right, and that's the hardest thing, and I think so many
Mhm.
women deal with it. That's why we have to talk about it,
Yeah.
because it's such an issue, and some women don't even know that other women are dealing with it. So we already have the gender parity issue that we deal with, and then we have the racial issue that you
Right.
deal with it on top of it. Wow.
Wow.
So what's next for Lake Worth West and you?
Growth. We need space.
You need space.
Oh my goodness, we need
Okay.
space.
You
We're
need a
on
new
top-
building.
We need a new building.
So are we asking for a
Yes,
new building?
Anytime. Anybody got something in the Lake Worth quarter, 334-6?
They do so much. They do so much good. That, yeah, I mean, there's got to be somebody out there.
Yes,
Come on, listen,
yes.
listen up.
You put it out there, you never know.
You never,
Yeah, I agree.
We're
I
big
agree.
on everybody putting it out there. That's why we say, what is next?
Right.
What are your needs? If somebody wants to volunteer or get involved with the organization, what do they do?
Just
Who
call
do they
me,
contact?
email me. We have a form. They have to be level 2 background screen because we
Okay.
do work with children.
Right.
We do have children on the facility. But other than that, they just have to be willing and love of service, really love of service. So they can contact me at 561-649-9600. That's our main number. And I would love to give them a tour of the facility and just kind of really talk to them about the facility. We have a fabulous website, and if you don't mind, I'll give that.
Yes, it's great.
LakeWorthWest.org. So it's just really easy, LakeWorthWest.org, and you can learn a lot about our organization.
Right.
And I'm very proud of us. So that's our in the next 5 years, I see us growing, expanding our services,
Wow.
really taking on some new programs. Right now, we're really into mental health services
Yes.
for our moms. And immigration in my area is always a big one.
Right.
And so that's something that will always be on the forefront is our immigration laws and our
Yeah,
rights.
you have to deal with that so much
Yes.
right now, I would imagine.
Yes.
And I would imagine mental health plays a lot into that because of what
Yes.
they're dealing with. And we don't give enough attention to mental health, in my opinion,
Right.
anyway. But
No, I
especially
don't.
in that community, they need that assistance. And what about Rhonda? What's Rhonda going to be up to next?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, because you're everywhere. I'm always like, I have to watch you on Facebook 'cause you're everywhere, and I'm just like, okay.
No,
I
Rhonda's
want to go hang out with
Rhonda's
Rhonda.
gonna be chilling for a while right now. So after these 2 years of being president of 2 major organizations simultaneously, I'm going on vacation after
Yes,
this.
you deserve it.
That's
If
what I'm
anybody
gonna do.
deserves a
That's what I'm
vacation,
gonna
They have
it's
an extended
Rhonda.
time out.
Exactly.
Extended time out.
Extended
A 2-week
time out.
time out.
Extend my
Don't.
time out.
We'll hang a sign that says Rhonda's
Yes.
in time out.
But no,
Okay.
that's really what I have going on in my life. A lot's going on right
Yes.
now to build for the future. I would love, like I said, my agency to grow and for us to be not that little secret anymore.
Yeah.
Because when I got there, that's one of the things I said, best kept secret there in Lake Worth. So that's my job. I'm really going around advocating for our organization, letting people know about Lake Worth West, connecting with funders, connecting with foundations, and anyone that can help service my families, because that's very
Wow.
important.
Well, you're an amazing advocate for so many people.
Thank
So
you.
how anybody could not want to work with you or help you out, I don't even
I
understand
appreciate
it.
that so
we,
much.
we have a lot of love for Rhonda here. So thank you so much for
No,
coming
thank
on.
you
Like I said,
guys.
you hold a special place in Cynthia and our hearts, for Make Your Life Happen, and we're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So if you want to check out Rhonda, we'll put the info here, and we will see you next time on Women Mean Business. Bye.
Bye-bye.